And welcome to the ThroBak Guitar Lounge Podcast, episode number 59. And we have a special treat. We're going to go way back in time in our ThroBak time machine and pull out a 1959 Les Paul Junior.
A real one.
A real one, all original.
We'll play for the 59th episode a real Les Paul Junior.
That sounds like fun.
Out of the ThroBak Guitar Lounge Guitar Vault. This is not actually
go deep into the vault to get that one.
This is not a player grade guitar. Except maybe it is. It does not have the original case. Maybe that makes it player grade. I don't know. I got it before these were crazy expensive. Does that make it player grade? I guess it was when I bought it, in the sense that it wasn't totally nutty.
And then for the Guitargument, we're going to go way, way into the future and ask the question and answer it. Are microtonal guitars the future of the electric guitar?
This really came to mind for you because you...
Well, don't ruin it for people.
Well, you think there's... someone thinks there's commercial potential for this.
Yes, yeah.
And we will get into your evidence for that in the Guitargument.
And beyond,
You saw real evidence that right now there are people that think dollars are going to flow into this.
I think I do believe
large entities.
Yes, powers beyond
powerful
our
corporations
are behind
think
this.
that money's flowing or right into the microtonal guitar world, music world.
That's going to be the newest thing that's going to change the.
Are we ahead of this? I mean, and people have talked about this. We've seen the long-nosed, sort of helmet-headed people.
The aliens.
The aliens.
I would suspect
the chest pain people.
Knowing me, I would say I'm behind the.
You're behind the curve.
Behind the curve on this, but that's probably our audience. To be fair, I don't think our audience is probably onto the most cutting edge stuff, but
they might be.
I know. I don't want to insult them.
Don't insult them. I mean, even though they like, we're assuming they love vintage style pickups and guitars, they might be on the cutting edge of the music scene.
I didn't know who Markiplier was.
That's right. We mentioned that last episode.
Did
him.
we?
Yeah.
My kids had to tell me who. And you did.
I did too. I didn't know until they told me. I mean, I had heard it, or I had heard of him anyway. Okay, so we're going to do that. Well, let's check in with Paul. Paul is here. Paul, you're right there. He's wearing shorts.
It's heating up in
Western
Michigan.
It's all of 74 degrees today. What, 76 maybe?
Yeah, maybe. But by early next week, it's going to be into the 90s.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah.
I thought it was 80s. They bumped it up.
I think what I saw this morning, it was all 90s next week.
Okay. All right. But Paul is in the temperature-controlled, permanently around the year 73 to 74 degree comfort of the ThroBak manufacturing space. Yes, Paul, would you call this a comfortable working environment? Even though it's look at how organized it is there.
Except for when you get cold and you turn it up to 74.
That's 73 to 74 is the window. So Paul seems to have a hotter motor than me. Sometimes it's a little chilly.
I find if you wear shorts, sometimes it can get a little chilly here in the summer. But the air conditioning's blasting.
All right. So, but this is one of those details that makes everything we make super, super consistent and allows us to make this wide variety of models, is because these are the sort of things we control that were not controlled to this degree in the big space of a large factory like Gibson in Kalamazoo, or really Gibson today. Mm-hmm. You know, a large factory space is not, temperature is going to have a wider variation than that. And again, it makes our resistance readings meaningful here as a control for pickup models. Okay, is there anything for the ThroBak mailbox?
Lots of stuff in the mailbox this week.
Okay, let's get right to that.
Okay, we're into the next section. Okay, the first one now at the top. I'll have to agree with this one. It said, "You guys are awesome. I was the caller about the Strat pickups. Thank you for taking the time to explain to those of us that don't know all of these details already.
Yeah.
I've just been
That's nice.
I've just been a player and never cared to know these things, but now I am obsessed with the details.
Oh my!
And it's
Is this now a burden?
Possibly, but he says it's your fault. It's John's fault.
It has to be among the best of burdens, don't you think?
Well, it's like anything. When knowledge is one of those things where you discover something and then you want to know more about it, and then you think, oh, this does matter. Then you begin to understand. So you become a connoisseur in no time.
Okay, is there more?
More? Yes, there is. The next one was a third set of your pickups just arrived. So hard to decide which ones are my favorite. Thank you so much for the tone.
Oh,
it's a nice little compliment.
That's a nice compliment. Is there more?
There's more. This one is. This is more of a question from last week's show about the out of phase pickups that we did in episode number 58. If you have magnetically reversed pickups, can you switch it back into phase with an electronic switch?
Oh, I see. I understand the question.
Magnetically reversed. So he's got.
I see. So his question is: if there's a magnet flip already, and you had 4-conductor wire, could you switch it back into phase with 4-conductor? And the answer is yes. Yeah.
But you can't do it if you need that 4-conductor, don't you?
You need the 4-conductor, or you could do it with the 3-conductor also. And by 3-conductor I mean you have a hot and ground for the pickup, and then you also have a shield for the wire. So that's the 3-conductor. But the also you could have that's what I'm referring to as 3-conductor. 3-conductor could also mean that you have a coil tap, and that for a coil split, a separate wire for that. But for these purposes, the 3rd conductor is the ground shield. But it's very simple to change the phase electronically. You just change which is the wire that is the hot and which is the ground. You change the orientation of those, and you change the phase. You cannot do this, though, successfully with a braided shield wire, because you can't have the ground shield become the hot, because it'll just ground out somewhere along the way, and that won't work.
It'll just kill the pickup. You'll just have nothing coming out of it. The next comment is like the second, but it's also, I think maybe they're picking up this comment. The viewer was picking up a comment that maybe Phil McKnight made in the last episode.
Oh, say more.
I don't know if your viewers watched the last episode around the 1 hour 50-minute mark? Of that
I've
1 hour 40 minutes.
I've etched it into a very important place on my desk. I don't remember what it was.
Anyways,
but he said the magic words.
He said the magic word.
I think I need to, I actually was going to send him a overdrive boost, and now I'm definitely going to do it because I love this. Go ahead.
Did your kids agree with what Phil said?
By the way, sometimes we have seconds, and we don't sell the seconds. So he seems to be on a pedal
kick,
kick. And I thought, well, I think I've got a second overdrive boost around, and so I'll send him one. And so, but now that he said the magic words, I will definitely do it. What are they?
What's Phil's words?
Sure.
I thought we were going to play it maybe.
No. Well, you guys have heard it over and over enough. Get here.
Well, Phil called you a genius on his show. Phil McKnight.
Well, I feel like it should be like the Groucho Marx show or something where the duck comes down with the magic the phrase of the show, and
okay,
yeah. So he wins the prize.
So if you butter up
overdrive boost.
So just all the viewers, if you butter up John
and his free pedals,
you will not regret it. So anyway, so this what do you want?
You have to have the right audience. So
right. Well, we have a very good audience. It said so. This viewer said, "Man, I love you guys, but now I have magnets and polarity clogging my brain. These are the things I've never really thought about. They come up all of a sudden. It feels like somebody's tightening a hose clamp on my skull.
Oh my gosh, it is a burden to people.
Thanks, but he did. I think he's being sincere. I think this is all sort of new information. And then this last viewer, I guess, also would agree with Phil. But your comment about making Rick Beato the new CEO of Fender, That's genius. Rick Beato for CEO or CFO of Fender. That would bring a positive vibe to Fender, and I think sales would skyrocket.
Wouldn't it?
Bud Shirley has to go. Bud is not having a good couple of weeks now. Now he's got to deal with Coleman.
It's going to be real interesting to see, like, if he does go.
Yeah,
you could really put it sort of like the kind of pushback from the whole influencer verse.
Well, he came in. Obviously, Bud came in February officially, and that decision in Germany came down in March. So that those things were already coming down the pipe. But it's like was it Harry Truman who said the buck stops here? I mean, he owns this. This is his legacy. This is he's the head guy. So
yeah. They're kind of at the point where they either have to reverse direction or double down.
Yeah.
And I think the doubling down is a risky move.
Yeah. I would love to know. I talked to you about this week. I would love to know their real sales numbers. They must have this stuff in real time.
Don't you have like Rhett Schultz saying, like, I'm not going to play my Fenders?
He said that.
Which sounds, in a way, it kind of sounds like odd, but not if you are if you have the kind of sort of platform that he's got. Yeah. It's advertising.
Yeah,
it's free advertising if it's not a sponsored video.
Yeah.
So I mean,
yeah, like in years past, I didn't really notice it too much this past April when they have the Coachella Festival on YouTube. But in the past few years, I've always noticed like how many artists are using Fender products.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
it'd be a lot.
Yeah,
like wow,
they must pass them out there.
I think
goodie bags.
And they were always like newer models too. So I don't think they were just models that artists happened to have. I think they must have had a present there and had a whole fleet of guitars. Here, take this.
Yeah,
they go on stage with it.
Okay,
that's all of the comments for this week. Yeah.
Okay, then we need to go right to the pickups of the. Well, I guess this is we're going to play some vintage P90s, dog ear. So I guess these are pickups of the week, and but again, these are going to be in a vintage, untouched 1959 Les Paul Junior, and this has not been, no solder joint has been monkeyed with this thing.
Cool.
I bought it. I'll get it, but and I'll talk about it in just a second. Okay, hold on. We'll be right back. Or should I just do the drum roll? Let's just do the drum roll.
Yeah, we don't. We'll do
it's forget that whole. I'm going to get up and I'm going to get that thing right now. Okay, this is a guitar. That's you again, darn it!
Do that every week.
It says Guitar Shot on the little button pusher here. They both say Guitar Shot.
Well, you need bass.
I think there's
bass
one
guitar.
and two. Okay, so this is a 1959 Les Paul Junior. Well, let's look at the other side of it.
And it's never been refinished.
Never been refinished. It has. Nice. You probably can't see it, but it's got someone left got a little mark here in the finish, just a little. You
had a second
right there, where someone I think must have left a strap or something in the case. Let's see. It's got a little. There's a little sort of nick in the finish right there. And the headstock.
Actually, is in very good shape.
It's in really good. I mean, I don't think there's you can really possibly call anything this old mint, but
pretty close.
It's pretty close, other than a few little, bumps. Here's let's see. If we can get the
and you found this at the local Guitar Center here.
This was at the local Guitar Center, and this would be what year was the first year we went to NAMM?
We went January of 2017.
Okay, so I think I got this maybe the fall of 2015.
Okay, so it's over 10 years.
Or sometime in early 2016. So
Did they say was it a local guitar or a local seller?
I think it was a local person who came in and brought this into the Guitar Center. I saw it there. I think they wanted $4,800 for it. And I went in and I said, how much if I give you cash to walk out the door with including tax and everything? And they said $4,000 but you can't return it. And I said, okay, let me take it apart. They had a guy there that took it apart, but it all checked out.
Did you take the cover off the pickup and look
took
at
the
it?
cover off the pickup and kind of lifted it out, looked at the control cavity, played it, adjusted the truss rod. This guitar is so original that I haven't played it a lot because the frets actually, they have almost no wear on them, but they're not really leveled the best. And these original jumbo frets, they're not super tall, so I don't really want to level it. Like the whole thing, but just this area on the wound strings here, past the 12th fret, kind of buzzy. So maybe I can get away with kind of doing that spot. But anyway, I took it out of its can, played it for a while. I had the strings off of it because they keep linking like, oh, I'm going to level the frets on that thing. And then I thought, well, for this 59th episode, I will take it out. I will string it up and I will see what the state of the frets are. So I polished them, hoping that would fix it. It didn't really. But anyway, it plays real well, except on the wound strings past the 12th fret, and it's a little buzzy. So the pickup in this is 7.6K.
Okay.
The guitar weighs 7 pounds, 2 ounces. After this, we will play a... what year is it? What do they call that now? It's a current production.
It's just a Les Paul Junior.
Les Paul Junior. And I think I don't remember what they call it, but it has our 7.8 ThroBak pickup in it. And I put Grover tuners on it, so it's not a sort of 1-to-1 sort of comparison. But that one's 7 pounds, 4 ounces, and we will play that right after this. So let me plug this thing in. Matthew, you've got your bass.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm going to play this through Marshall. And
Studio Mark II.
Yeah. And we did have to change. Let's go to this amp settings. This is a photo. So this is strident enough. Both of these are strident enough in the treble that we turned the high treble volume down from 2 to 1. But here is the setting. The settings for everything else except this high treble volume is actually at 1 on the amp right now for this comparison. So, can you read that, Matthew, to the audience that may just be listening? You can't read it.
I can't see this. I can see it.
Okay.
Is it presence like 2? I can't see it.
Presence is 3.
3.
Bass is
6.
Bass is
It's 3
8.
o'clock.
Middle is 5. Treble is 4. High treble is, we've got it at 1.
We lowered that.
We lowered that. Normal is at 6. All right, so let's go back here. And, not that one. This one. Okay, so let's, I'll play it here with everything up. Everything on 10. I'll put it treble. I'll put the tone on 8. I think it might be a little bit less, little fatter, a little less jangly with the tone on 8. Okay, tone on 8. You ready, Matthew?
Ready.
You ready? Huh? Let's play that.
Okay.
Okay. I'm gonna put the tone on 10. I'll put it back on 8. Back on 10. All right.
Very nice.
I switched between 8 and 10. Ended up on 10 with the tone. Volume on 10 the whole time. And again, I will attempt to show the versatility of the single pickup Les Paul Junior. Everything on 10 here. No, very powerful. All right. Let's put the tone on 8 and then the volume on 9. Not quite, still pretty dirty. Okay, now let's put the tone on. Let's try it on 6. Okay, let's turn the volume to 8. Let's put the tone on 7. I don't know what this is gonna do, but it's a little more. It's pretty clean, but it's a little more jangly. Then you turn it all the way up.
Nice.
All right. Let's get the 57 Les Paul Junior. It's not a historic reissue, but it's
U.S. production.
It's U.S. production. These are nice.
Yeah, no, the finish is very good.
And let's switch that out. Should I just do the drum roll?
Yes.
Just do the drum roll. That's what I'm going to do.
Ta-da.
Okay. This guitar is 7 pounds 4 ounces. The other one was 7 pounds 2 ounces. This is obviously a single cutaway Les Paul Junior. The pickup in this is 7.8K. It's a ThroBak dog ear A4 7.8K pickup.
What was the resistance in the 59?
7.6K.
7.6.
Which is actually pretty typical for a 50s era Les Paul Junior. You know, I think people often think like, oh, they got to be super hot in terms of resistance. That sounds plenty hot at 7.6K. And that's not an unusual resistance for those things. So, okay, let's start with everything on 10 here. Now, these do sound, well, we picked this up, and you agreed with me that even though this is 4 ounces heavier,
2 ounces.
Sorry, 2 ounces heavier, which is very little, this feels lighter.
It does.
And so we think that, well, my feeling was that this guitar has Grovers. I put Grovers on it. That the even though this is, you know, has a more surface area, you know, mass, I assume because of the single cutaway, that the wood in that one for the body is probably denser for the double cutaway, and it changes the balance of it, and also I think in turn changes the tone of what you're going to hear here. That one sounds fatter.
It does. I think it does.
And that has a little bit bigger frets. The jumbo frets are...
Is the body thickness on this guitar wider, the thickness of it, than that guitar?
I've never compared it, but I think really the only difference is the cutaways.
So this thickness is
no, the body thickness. You know, I haven't checked that. I'm just assuming they're the same.
I just looking at it, but
I don't know
because it's black. It just looks wider. You know,
I'm assuming they're the same, but that might not be a safe assumption. Okay, so we'll. This is twangier.
Yeah, it's brighter.
Everything on 10 there. Also, I have this was wound that on a Geo Stevens machine that does not produce as fat a coil as the KZ115 Geo Stevens machine. I will not take apart the vintage pickup, but may sound a little fatter because that may have a coil that's wound on the KZ115 machine, which actually does make it sound fatter.
Okay.
So we have an off menu sort of option. We'll put it on the website at some point here, but called the KZ115 P90, and we just do it at turn count because there's limit to how much, because the coils are fatter, limit to how many turns you can put on it for P90, but that is an off-menu item some guitar makers order. And some famous players have those in their guitars. So, anyway, let's play this, and people can compare. Again, the difference is we've got a single cutaway, and my thinking would be this would sound a little twangier because the neck overall is stiffer than a double cutaway. And I do think that a more flexible neck tends to make with a Strat at least, to me, they sound fatter. But there would be an argument maybe that the cutaway adds more mass and would make this fatter sounding. But if that's a denser piece of wood, then maybe that sounds fatter. But anyway, this has Grovers also. The other one does not. And that's another kind of thing people do that can affect the overall tone. Okay, you ready, Matthew?
Ready.
All right. Let's start with everything on. I'll start with it on 8 here, and then I'll turn it up to 10 for the tone. Ready? 1, 2, 3. All right. That is it. Anything I wanted to say about this? The other just sounds meaner. Don't you think?
This one sounds...
No, the other one.
Oh, it does. No, the other one,
yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and...
Now I'm curious if you put a KZ, a P90 in that.
Yeah, I haven't since it's all original, I haven't really dissected that thing. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to, but I can I can do some experimenting with other pickups put in this. Really need a double cut version of this. That would require banding guitar though, Matthew.
Collings makes it as 290 DC.
Oh, that's right. They do. Okay, this is, these are very nice. This is a bit more articulate than that. In fact, let's do the sort of cleaning it up trick.
Yeah, do that.
And I think this is going to sound a bit more crystalline clear. Oh, that... Okay. All right. So we're going to go to the Guitargument. We should I just let's cut because you got to put your bass away.
Yeah, that takes a little time.
All right. We will be right back. Okay, we're back. Let's Matthew, ready for the Guitargument today, and let's say hi to Paul just to make sure he's still good. There, Paul, you still holding on through the show? Yes,
I am.
Okay. What are you working on there, Paul?
I am assembling a SLE 101.
Okay. He's assembling an SLE 101, Matthew. Well, continue.
And I don't like the slug. So
you don't like this?
Toss it to the side.
This is the sort of quality control that goes on here, not hour to hour, not day to day, minute by minute. Literally, he's going through each individual slug.
You could even say second by second, or even microsecond by microsecond.
Yes.
Which leads us right into the guitar.
That's right. You're going to go to microtonal. is the Guitargument. Okay, I don't know. I don't know what you have in mind here, Matthew. But should you set it up with your observation that made you think this was something to put on the ThroBak Guitargument radar?
Well, we'd have to flip around because that was going to be part of my musing. But should we do that now? I don't know.
Well, I think you should. Yeah, I would say it now.
I'll give him a hint
because I think it's a compelling argument as to why this is topical.
You put the target picture up.
Let's see here.
The one.
I didn't make a button for it here, but I think I can do it here, Matthew. I've hold on.
Mastered this thing.
I think I can do it. Where the heck is it? Oh, keep talking while keep talking to fill the dead air here, Matthew.
Okay, well, I got onto this because I was last week. I was on Friday or so. I think I went over to after work. I went over to Target, and we had to pick up a couple things, my wife and I. And then she wanted to look at the gardening section or something, and I said, I'm just going to wander down and look at their music section. And Best Buy doesn't really have music section.
Keep talking.
So they have this little tiny music section at Target that probably most people are aware of, but most of it is a few artists. There really aren't. It's like pop artists, K-pop, and then you've got greatest hits kind of records like best of Tom Petty, best of Bob Marley, best of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. But there was on the front end cap display there was an artist. And
I found it.
There it is right there.
There it is.
This was at Target, and you can see
this is at Target, and say this is Angine de Poitrine. So this is the sort of
the
micro. Hold on, Paul's microphone is going there. I got to there. Let me fix that. It was my okay.
So these are the French Canadian a duo that is the toast of the independent music world right now. I guess they're getting a lot of attention, and they're at Target.
So your question is this an indicator that this is a big deal?
Yeah, I think it is. I mean, you don't get into Target unless you are a big deal. I mean, look at Taylor Swift. She occupies about a quarter of their shelf space with 18 different versions of her records on vinyl, on CD, and then you've got other pop artists, and then you've got these. I mean, this is very. You would think this was very niche stuff, but they are having a moment right now.
All right, so we're gonna start it, and I'll have to take the other side of it.
Okay, so
5 minutes.
Ready 5 minutes
now.
ready
right now.
Okay, so it's for 75 years we've had the electric guitar.
We've had
and maybe
old fuddy-duddy tuning.
And we've had our Western tuning with 12 increments per octave, and maybe Fender, unbeknownst to them, attacking the people that feed them and their dealers and other. Maybe people have had enough, and they've said, "Okay, we're going to go to something totally different."
So you think this plays into the Fender? You think the Fender has upset the balance enough that there is now they put
a rip in the time continuum, I think, and now we're going to go to
string continuum, the 6-string Western tonal continuum, and now there's a microtonal break in the.
There's an alternative
in universe,
and people
shining
are flocking to it. So I think it does give you new options, and it gives you a different way of looking at the guitar. And I mean, the guitar is great too. The regular guitar, because you have alternate tunings and things, but you have all this sort of new territory now.
No, this is what you think, though, Matthew.
That's what I think.
But how many people have a microtonal guitar? That, I mean, it sounds compelling.
Not many. I think more are coming, though.
I think now a fretless guitar could just as easily be microtonal guitar, couldn't it? Yes,
that's true. That's true.
But you don't. The advantage of these fretted microtonal guitars is that you've got a definite
pitch.
Pitch that you're fretting.
Exactly.
And
but tell me why I'm wrong.
well, let's see, Matthew. We have an entire body of music.
Have I bitten off too much?
We have an entire body of music in pop culture. Let's just stick with that. That is based upon Western tuning, even though it is derivative. Good argument could be made. It is derivative of jazz and blues, and the argument could be made that these have their roots. You okay there?
I had a little hiccup. I think you're making me ill.
These have their roots in microtonal territory because of the
bending.
Well, the bending, and also the music that was brought with slaves to the Americas that had a sort of those traditional sounds that slaves brought with them, married with the traditional music of the Scottish, in fiddle music, and but there is microtonalities as part of this. So you could say that is part of it. It was already that there were microtonal sort of tones within blues, jazz, and then therefore rock. And I do recognize that sort of in playing blues, there are many bends that are not that are microtonal.
So you're just proving my point. But you're doing what I do when I have to take.
Does that mean that you are going from this sort of dabbling in it to now making an entire song and genre of music whose core is microtonality rather than just sort of a accent of microtonality? I think that that's highly unlikely, Matthew.
Well, it's interesting you brought up some of that idea, with the early development of like the fife and drum music that came out of, I think, the middle of the country, Mississippi and things.
I will say one more thing here.
Go ahead.
I think it's possible that how many other people were playing these things? Like if you put one in your hands, you'd be like, wow, this is easy. There's notes everywhere. I could, we're assuming this sounds complex.
That's true.
But if you get one in your hands, is it kind of like, oh, this is a thing that's kind of easy to do?
Well, do you see that's
because you're expanding what's okay to play within the song. I don't know.
That's probably that may be very true, and it's going to sound.
It's 5 minutes.
It's 5 minutes. That's going to sound very, very different, and maybe that's the time to get into it. You get on the ground floor.
All right, let's go to the cool down.
I'm going to go to the cool down.
We'll do this the right way.
Okay,
so you go ahead. You were talking about getting on the ground floor.
Well, that's the thing. Maybe it isn't. It's just like just more frets. I don't know. I've never played one, but I'd be curious to play one. I think it's kind of interesting. But from the music, some of the music that I was listening to this week from the the first name, the French Canadian guys,
chest pain.
The chest pain guys, they have because that's what it means. People don't know the name actually means angina. It's like chest pain.
Well,
it's an inside joke because their music is very sort of mathematical, and it can give you chest pain listening to it. I think it gave chest pain to Todd, our singer.
Yeah, we had band practice Tuesday and
earlier this week,
and you had it up there on the computer, and the drummer and Todd did not like it.
No, Mark and Todd did not like the future of music, as I'm calling it right now.
Okay,
but listening to some of it, like they have those guys have a song called Sherpa, and I was just listening to it today, and it was like it is very sort of hypnotic, and it reminds me of some of that sort of hill country, Mississippi hill country, like R.L. Burnside and the stuff that you saw on the Robert Palmer New York Times writer documentary, Deep Blues. It's very sort of, it sets this kind of tone.
Well, there's a drone quality to it.
Yeah.
Now, but I don't even know how to describe this. I think one thing that's going on with it is that it like adds steps to the destination note.
Mm-hmm. It does.
That make it sound maybe more complex than it is. I totally don't know what I'm talking about with this. But you see what I mean? If your path is from note A to note B, and now you have all sorts of steps in between there that can lead to it. It's like it's sort of like a variation on a slide, on sliding a note. Mm-hmm. But you can stretch it out a bit more because you actually have frets for it.
You get the sustain.
Well, also too, you can actually pick the note.
Pick the note, sure, yeah.
It's almost like, if you listen to it, to me, it sounds like it has a drone quality to it, but in sort of a droning melodic way. Mm-hmm. So you have a melodic phrase that kind of takes the play that functions as a drone, as a single drone note. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about, but you know what I mean?
Well, from the guitar world, it's kind of like I guess like a new relative just came to town, and you're going to have to make room in your guitar closet for maybe another instrument.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Were you going to save that instrument for your musical musings?
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll have that coming up.
We can talk about a little bit more.
Okay, so that's it. That's it for the Guitargument. Mm-hmm. We're done. We're going to go to your Rorschach Riffs.
Okay.
Paul, you're here to be a part of this, aren't you? The Rorschach Riffs.
I am.
And Matthew, do we know if these are, do you know, because I don't know what they are these something that are going to be knowable by Paul, you think, with his generation?
No, he didn't escape these. He would have heard these growing up.
Okay. Do you have a guitar you prefer to use here?
I think because I might use the out of phase switch. So I think the gold top.
The gold top there. Okay, did you tune that earlier? Because I didn't.
I did. I think
I
think it should be okay.
All right. Let's turn that drum roll on. I'll go get it. Okay. So is the out of phase tone sort of the precursor to microtonality?
Yeah, possibly.
Here's out of phase. In phase. So is this something that people
see this is the one thing I find interesting about if you've got a microtonal guitar, then you could say, okay, now I can make it out of phase microtonally.
Oh wow!
And then you could. Then I don't know from what my research that I've done, it seems like most of the guitars are tuned standard tuning, and then you just have all the different.
Oh, I see. So
then you could have a guitar. I assume you could tune it drop D, or you could tune it down a half step, or you could do, all sorts of things with it. Open tunings.
Yeah, are these microtones really taking the place of bends?
Yeah,
you don't hear them bending, do you?
That's true. And I don't think you can. Can you play chords on those things? I don't know.
You must be able to.
Yeah.
Okay, it's out of phase.
Yeah, for now we'll do it. Yeah.
Okay, again, you were playing our 2004 1957 reissue with ThroBak 57 Steelhead PAF reproduction pickups. Available on the ThroBak
I suppose I don't need that
website. Well, it's gonna. You might want to. It just depends on how much dirt you want, because we did turn the high. Yeah, that's about where it was.
that's it.
Yeah, the P90s and those guitars are definitely dirtier than these PAF style pickups here. Through Marshall, at least. Okay. All right. So, all right, Paul, he is about to commence. You've got your notepad. He's got it right there. Okay. Four riffs played through the filter of Matthew Quayle's Rorschach Riff fingers for all to decipher. 4 well-known tunes. Time era, are these of a certain era before you get started? Or are they all over the place?
Let me look at them.
Well, you don't have to say genre. Just like, are we looking at certain space of time here?
That's a good question. Let's look. I would say 70s, and then early 80s.
Okay. All right. You may riff. Okay.
Missed one note there.
Oh, stop right there.
I didn't get him to do the thing. Okay, no, this one I need out of phase. So this is there. That has to go here. And maybe, let's see.
Okay.
You got that one?
Yep.
Okay, now I need to go back in here at this. Now this one I may have to describe to you. This is early 70s, and then what's going to happen is this. Beginning of the song. Then we go about 27 seconds of a little keyboard intro, and then after 27 seconds is that little bass fill, drum fill. Early 70s.
Keyboard.
The big long keyboard for about 27, 28 seconds before the next guitar break comes in. But right off the top, it's exactly what I just played. I think I'm gonna go back. 27 seconds, 28 seconds pass, and then it's drum and bass fill.
Are there vocals in there too?
Not yet, no.
Wow.
And then it's
okay.
that probably gave it away.
Okay, yeah. You gave it away right there.
But I dissected it.
No, it's not really keyboards.
What is it? I thought it's some sort of keyboard. Is it a Fairlight or something, or early computer?
I think so. I think that it's tape. So the person responsible for this, I think the story is he was experimenting with sort of electronic music and sort of math composition.
Okay.
And he created a tape loop.
Okay.
With that he spliced individual sounds together in order to create that. That I think may have been sort of mathematical by design. You know, so much time of this, so much time of this note. But I'm sure it's all sequenced now, but I think it's a tape loop. Okay. We'll play it again for the audience and for Paul. Paul, how many of these sound familiar?
1 and 2. That's it.
That's it? Okay, well,
Yep.
here, try again. Paul, or Matthew, start over. Here's one. Okay. Did you tune that?
That's too much distortion.
Did you tune it?
I did.
Oh, you did.
know.
Oh.
And then we did the aforementioned long. Do I need to do that one again? That's not going to help anybody, is it? I'm not going to play the whole thing, but
yeah, that's not really a riff, is it?
Well,
play the riff part that gives the song away.
Okay, so it's then it's.
That's the one that gives it away. Okay. Yeah. Okay, that's 4.
That's 4.
Okay, Paul. Tell me what was tell me the ones you know. Did that expand your
No.
No. Okay. Okay, 1 tell me what do you know what number 1 is?
Beat It.
Okay.
Correct.
And who, Paul, for the bonus point?
I don't remember that guy's name.
Who did the solo?
Well,
who wrote the song?
Song. It's Michael Jackson.
Right. MJ.
Okay. So play it quickly here, Matthew. Just so everybody knows. Okay. Okay.
And that actually is it's not tuned down a half step, but I'm.
Oh, okay. Okay, Paul. What was the next one? Did you know number 2?
Yes.
What is it?
Keep on rocking in the free world.
No, it's not. It's not.
That first part doesn't give it away right there.
Actually, it sounds sort of like actually he said that. It's like
I know the song. Apparently not good enough, but I know the song.
I'd say that
it's the cowbell song.
I could see how he might have thought that ish. Okay,
I'll put that on my list.
So that is "Don't Fear the Reaper."
That's correct.
Oh man,
by Blue Oyster Cult. Okay. Okay, third song, Matthew. Paul, that's all you know? That's it.
What's it? Sorry.
Okay, close the door quietly on your way out. Okay, we'll go back to Matthew. Okay.
So the third one is.
That's Golden Years.
That's correct.
By David Bowie. Correct?
David Bowie. Carlos Alomar tells an interesting story because apparently David Bowie came into him with just very simple chords, and all he had was just that.
Who came in with that?
David Bowie did.
Yeah.
And Carlos Alomar listened to it and he said, "You can't do that." He said, "Have you ever heard of a song called On Broadway?"
Oh.
And then so he said, "Well, we got to change it up a bit." So then they started doing all this little funky stuff and adding.
So did he work that at Carlos Alomar? Work that out with him?
Yeah, and Earl Slick apparently. They both did. Yeah, they both have stories about it. You can see online. That's kind of interesting.
Okay. Well, I like that song. I've
never tried the guitar part. I've never tried to play it. When you actually start listening to it, there's a lot of kind of little funky things going on. But I've always liked the song. The song is a good song.
Okay. Fourth is "We Won't Get Fooled Again." Or is it Bob O'Reilly? Wait, no.
You're right.
Which Bob O'Reilly is?
I don't think it's called "We." It's just "Won't Get Fooled."
Won't Get Fooled Again. Bob O'Reilly is a different song.
It's the same album, but yeah.
That loop thing. I think that's a tape loop. Maybe someone will correct me on that, but I think it's there's a story of him splicing these things together, and that is what that keyboardy soundy thing is. I think maybe he was experimenting with a Moog synthesizer and then making these tape loops.
Is it studio wizardry?
But I'm probably wrong on something there. But okay, that was your Rorschach Riffs, Matthew. We're going to now go on to your musical musings.
And this ties into our Guitargument this week. So
You're still here?
I'm still here. Well, we've already done the picture of.
So this. You're going to talk about Engine de Poitrine.
So I didn't know anything about these guys until Rick Beato talked about them in March.
Neither did I.
I've never heard of them, but they've been around for a little bit, and had the first record that you see on the picture there that we show, that was released in 2004. 2024. And their latest one, I think, either came out in 25 or this year. I can't remember if it just came out in April. But and then if this is going to be the future of music, you're going to have to play it on something. So I thought today, I bet you Eastwood guitars, which you know they were based in Canada?
Yes. I don't. Didn't they used to be in the Detroit area?
I don't think so. I think they were.
I'm thinking of Reverend guitars.
Yeah, they are. Well, they used to be. Are they in Ohio now? Did they leave? Did they go down to Dayton?
Yeah, I'm mixing the two. I'm conflating the two.
Yeah. But Eastwood, I think were maybe they still have a warehouse there and what have you. They were north of Toronto, I think in Orangeville, Ontario. But they have a showroom in Nashville you can visit if you want to go try some of their guitars out. So maybe there's also
some ways to go.
Well, they're probably in major centers. They're probably New York. Yeah. Los Angeles. But I thought, Eastwood will have something. And sure enough, Eastwood has had some microtonal guitars. Oh. And they have a history with
it's right there.
The guitar player from Engine de. Am I pronouncing that right?
Engine de Poitrine.
Engine de Poitrine.
You have to go Engine de Poitrine.
And he approached them wanting for them to make a microtonal version of one of their guitars, and they couldn't make it happen because they said there's just not enough demand for it at the time. This was a few years ago. So the luthier who did make the Doubleneck guitar for the guitar player in the band, they approached them and said they were looking at the idea of making a sort of signature or a copy of it to sell to the general public, and the band decided they didn't want to do that. But this is what's come out of it. So they're going to offer this starting, I think you can put money down on it now, and it's supposed to be available in October of 2026. So you're going to get a microtonal guitar, I think it's 24 3/4 inch scale, and about a 30.5 inch scale bass.
You know what's going to happen?
For about $1,300.
You're giving me the guitar.
Take that.
I think you're going to have people, maybe what you'll have is... Maybe you'll have people bending microtonally to sound like it. So isn't one of them?
Yeah.
So
there are people doing that too online and things. But
I can't do it, but
they do.
Sort of it. That's it. Kind of is. Sort of is.
Sort of. But the Eastwood seems to be, and not trying to turn this into an advertisement for them, but there are other makers that come up that they may. I couldn't find any examples, but Eastwood seems to be at the forefront. The cheapest thing to do is just to get a microtonal neck. They make one, or Eastwood will sell you one for about $350 or so. But I think this stuff is coming. I think
is Fender is just going to be, maybe Fender's going to back down on the Stratocaster stuff, and they say, and we're making a microtonal neck for your Strat.
Yeah, I bet you they are. I bet you those. It'd be interesting to know if the Cortec factory in Indonesia is busy, creating necks. I'm sure they are. You could either get your regular guitar and then get the microtonal neck for that one. I guess that's always the question. Like, will that neck fit in your neck pocket?
Why wouldn't it? Yeah.
Are the neck pockets standard on most guitars?
You mean you'd have to have a Fender one.
Yeah, because everybody's probably a little different, right?
Yeah. You'd have to have a Fender one specific to a Strat or a Telecaster.
And they make.
I don't even think that. I mean, I could be wrong about this, but I think I don't think necessarily a Chinese squire neck is going to, or an Indonesian squire neck is going to fit into a Mexican made like Vintera or something.
I never tried it, but
I haven't tried it. Maybe I'm wrong about that, but
what I find interesting about the whole idea behind it is that it just is like new territory. So now it's like, okay, maybe people just will make something completely different, and you have to create something new. So it's kind of interesting.
Okay. All right. Matthew, is that the show? Is that it?
Am I attacking the very foundations of the vintage guitar world by, is this heresy? Will I be banished?
Well, these Engine de Poitvin guys, they're Canadian, right?
They are French Canadian from Saguenay.
And so
Saguenay, Quebec, northern, up from Quebec City, I think.
So maybe you're part of the problem.
Oh, we're part. Oh, I see.
You're part of the problem. You've got dual citizenship.
If only we had this. I don't know.
I gotta. Do you think I'm now? So since Phil McKnight said the magic words, I was thinking of sending him, sort of a non-sellable B-stock overdrive boost, just because I like because he's a friend.
Sure.
And
friend of the show. I think he's
are we am I compromising the journalistic ethics of this by sending I'm going to send him something we wouldn't sell anyway. Is it like,
maybe by
is this an ethical problem?
Maybe by telling everybody, he'll say, "Hey, do you like that?"
No, I don't even. I honestly, I think I don't even know if I like it. It's but it's a cool thing to try. So I thought,
the overdrive boost?
I've got some. I think I've got some that I'm not going to sell anyway. So it's like, I give them to artists every once in a while. If we got them, but
well, I like the overdrive boost because you can get a very nice sort of like clean boost, and then if you want to go all your various modes of overdrive, you've got everything from very heavy duty to very light. So it is a versatile pedal,
and it is. I didn't even know it until studio players started contacting me, but it's kind of like in the toolkit of several national players, which is pretty cool.
I had a customer who phoned who had left one. I think he must have been either he works on a band that it was on a cruise ship, or because he said he left it somewhere like in the Bahamas or something. It got.
Oh, he worked on a cruise ship.
Well, I was assuming, I didn't ask him all these questions, but he was based somewhere in like South or North Carolina, and I think he told me he misplaced it or he got left behind or lost it at a gig somewhere else, and then he was desperate. Like he wanted me to rush it to him, to expedite it. And I told him, I said, well, we have to test them. It would be much easier, if we just put it in the mail and you'll get it in like 3 days rather than trying to expedite it, and then it has to be signed for, and then it ends up at some depot because you're not there. I said, just let us do it the regular way, and you'll get it in a couple of days. And so he was, but he was in a kind of a panic when he talked to me, and I told him.
Okay. We talked so much the outro song ended. Okay. All right. Thank you everybody for watching.
Thanks for watching and listening.
And that's right. I
have to say that.
Yeah.
Some people just listen to us.
Some people listen to a podcast. All right. Thank you.